Have you ever loved someone for almost 2 decades, built a whole life together, only to realize they'd been waiting for someone else the entire time? What would you do if your own daughter looked you in the eye and said, "Mom's ex was always supposed to be my real dad"? Would you forgive her, or would you walk away? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if this story hits you in the gut like it did me. My name's Cassius Lou, and for 18 years I thought I had a pretty normal life. I'm an architect, quiet guy, not flashy. I wake up early, brew the same coffee every morning, and head out to build other people's dream homes. I thought I had one of my own. I was married to Anika Barton, and we have a 17-year-old daughter named Kate Castaneda. She's sharp, top of her class, funny when she wants to be. I used to think we were solid. Anika and I weren't the couple who posted kissing selfies or wrote long anniversary posts on Facebook. We were simple. We had routines, shared chores, planned family vacations. Life stuff. But lately, something had started to feel off. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and something's just missing? That's what it was like with Anika. Her eyes stopped meeting mine. Her smiles felt forced. Her hugs were quick, like she was checking a box. I didn't ask much. Maybe that was the problem. I chalked it up to work stress. The real estate game is brutal, and Anika had been chasing some high-end listings. I figured we were just riding out a rough patch. We'd had a few before, but then came that Tuesday afternoon. Clear skies midweek. I was sketching out a layout for a client's lake house when my phone buzzed. It was Angelina Woodard, our next-door neighbor. She never calls me during work hours. I wiped the pencil lead off my fingers and picked up. "Cassius, you need to come home. Now." There was a tightness in her voice I'd never heard before. I froze. "What's going on?" I asked, and then came the words that flipped my world upside down. "There's a man at your house. Anika's there too. They're loading your furniture into a truck." I stood there in my office, heart pounding. My wife was home moving furniture out of my house with a stranger in broad daylight, and I had no idea what the hell was happening. I don't even remember grabbing my keys. 1 second, I was standing in my office, hearing Angelina's voice in my ear. The next, I was behind the wheel, flying down the highway like a man possessed. Every red light felt personal. My heart was slamming against my chest like it was trying to escape before I got there. Furniture? Moving truck? What the hell was going on? I didn't call Anika. I didn't want excuses. I wanted to see what the hell was happening with my own eyes. I screeched into the driveway and slammed on the brakes, so hard the tires left a mark. I jumped out, and there it was, clear as day. 2 guys from some moving company were wheeling out our living room couch. My couch. The one we bought together when Kate was 10. The one I spilled wine on during movie night. The one I fell asleep on for years when I worked late. And right in the middle of it all, Anika, and a man I had never seen before in my life. He was tall, tan, stylish in that effortless, I pretend I'm humble kind of way. Aviators pushed up on his forehead, sleeves rolled to the elbow. He looked like the kind of guy who shows up at reunions just to make everyone else feel like they peaked in high school. He was laughing with the movers, like this was some kind of joke. Anika stood next to him, clipboard in hand, like she was coordinating the whole thing. I stormed up the driveway. "Anika, what is going on here?" She turned, startled. For a second, I thought I saw guilt in her eyes, but then it vanished, replaced by something worse, indifference. "Cassius, you're not supposed to be home this early." "Not supposed to be home? What the hell?" Before I could even answer, the man stepped between us like some dime store bodyguard. "You need to calm down, man. This doesn't concern you." That did it. I clenched my fists and shoved him back. "You're standing on my property, touching my things, and you think this doesn't concern me? Who the hell are you?" He smirked. Actually smirked. "Name's Wesley. Wesley Quintero." He offered it like I should know who he was, like it was supposed to mean something. Then he added with a little shrug, I'm just here helping Anika move what's hers. I saw red. Before I even knew what I was doing, my fist connected with his jaw. His head snapped sideways, and he stumbled back, grabbing his face. Cassius! Anika screamed, running toward him. But I wasn't done. I grabbed him by the shirt and shoved him again. You think you can just show up and steal my life? In broad daylight. He didn't answer, just groaned, staggering against the moving truck. Anika got between us, holding out her arms. Stop it. He didn't steal anything. I stared at her, heart pounding. Then explain this. Explain why there's a truck in my driveway and some guy I've never seen before is taking my furniture. Her face twisted, not with regret, not even shame. It was anger. Because I'm leaving you, Cassius. Her voice was sharp, clipped, full of decision. And Wesley, he's my first love. I should have been with him all along. I couldn't speak. I felt the air leave my lungs like I'd been kicked. She kept going. I wasted almost 2 decades pretending, being the perfect wife. You were safe, but you were never him. I took a step back, like the words physically hit me. My mouth was dry. I looked at the moving truck, the boxes, the couch, the woman I loved, and this smug bastard, still wiping blood from his lip. Then sirens. Angelina must have called the cops. 2 squad cars pulled up. Officers stepped out, hands on their belts, surveying the chaos. One of them walked up to me, Officer Abrams, I think his name was. I'd seen him at the community barbecue last summer. Sir, we got a report of an altercation. Everyone okay here? I nodded stiffly, still breathing hard. Yeah, I'm the one who hit him. The officer looked at Wesley. You want to press charges? Wesley looked at Anika, then back at me. He shook his head slowly. Nah, we're good. Just a misunderstanding. Yeah, the understatement of the year. The second officer, a younger guy, approached Anika. Ma'am, you live here? Yes, with my husband. She said it like it burned her tongue. Are you trying to remove property from the house? She hesitated. Yes, I'm taking what's mine. I'm leaving him. The officer nodded, then turned to me. Is there a divorce in progress? Any court orders regarding the division of property? I shook my head. No, not yet. He sighed. Then she can't take anything. Not unless it's her personal belongings. Furniture, electronics, anything bought during the marriage, it's shared. If you don't have a court order or agreement, it stays. Anika's face went pale. You've got to be kidding me. He shook his head. Ma'am, unless you want this to turn into a theft case, I suggest you return the items and take only your clothes and personal items. The movers looked at each other awkwardly and started unloading. Wesley muttered something under his breath and stormed inside. Anika looked at me, furious. This is low, Cassius, even for you. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked toward the porch, each step feeling heavier than the last. The house that had felt cold for weeks? Now it was filled with a different kind of silence, the kind that follows an earthquake. And I knew nothing was ever going to be the same again. The house was too quiet. I sat at the edge of the couch she tried to steal, staring at nothing, trying to make sense of it all. The movers were gone. The cops were gone. Wesley had limped out like some wounded soap opera character. And Anika? She stormed off to her sister's, or maybe Wesley's, I didn't care. But the silence in that house, it was loud. I had just been told by the woman I spent 18 years loving that I was never enough, that I had been the placeholder, the safety net, the good guy she settled for. That hurt. That stung like hell. But what came next? That broke something I'm not sure I'll ever fully repair. I heard the front door creak open. Light footsteps followed. My daughter, Kate, walked in, still in her school uniform, backpack slung over one shoulder, earbuds dangling around her neck. She looked around at the half-unpacked boxes, the moved furniture, the heavy air. "What happened?" she asked, dropping her bag. I stood up slowly, hands trembling just enough for me to notice. Your mom said she's leaving." Kate blinked, totally unfazed. Then she said it. "With Wesley." I froze. She knew his name. You knew?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Kate shrugged, like I'd asked if she knew what was for dinner. "Of course. Mom's been talking to him for months." She said it like it was normal, like it was okay. "Kate, you knew she was seeing someone else? While we were still together." She looked at me then, really looked, and her face twisted, but not with shame. With judgment. "Dad, she was never happy with you." That hit harder than anything Anika had said. "What are you talking about?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She crossed her arms and took a breath, like she was doing me a favor by explaining. "Wesley was her first love. They were together in college. He had to move abroad for work, and she ended up marrying you. But she never stopped loving him. She told me everything." My heart was pounding again, but this time it wasn't from shock. It was something worse. She kept going. She said she tried to make it work. She really did. But you were never the one. You were the guy who checked all the boxes. Responsible, stable, boring. I stared at my daughter, searching for any sign that this was some kind of twisted joke. But she was serious. "Kate, I raised you. I've been there for everything. Your first recital, your hospital visits, every school event, every single time your mom was too busy to show up, it was me. I was the one who was there. And now you're telling me I was just what? A stand-in? A placeholder, Dad, until your real one came back." She didn't flinch. Not once. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Wesley was always meant to be my real dad." And just like that, everything inside me cracked. I sat back down, numb. The words echoed over and over. He was always meant to be her dad. 18 years. 18 years of bedtime stories, birthday parties, scraped knees, late-night drives, whispered advice. Wiped away by one sentence. She didn't even look sorry. "I know this hurts, Dad, but you'll be fine. You're strong. You always are." I didn't say anything. I couldn't, because something deeper than heartbreak was settling into my bones. I had lost more than my wife. I had lost the one person I thought would always be on my side, my daughter. And in that moment, sitting in the ruins of a life I thought was built to last, I realized something that chilled me to my core. They had both already left me, long before today. Something broke inside me that night. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't punch walls or scream into the void. I just stopped feeling. Whatever part of me had been holding out hope for Anika, for Kate, for the life I thought I had, it died on that couch. The next morning, I got dressed for work like any other day. Tie, blazer, same worn leather shoes. I made my coffee. I fed the cat. And then I walked into the law office of Colin Young, a guy I once designed a lake house for. He looked up from his desk and did a double take. "Cassius? Damn. Didn't expect to see you so soon. You okay, man?" I sat down, locked eyes with him, and said, "I want a divorce. Fast. And I want it clean. No loopholes. No alimony. No generosity." Colin raised an eyebrow, leaned back in his chair. "That bad?" I nodded once. He didn't ask for details. He knew that look, the look of a man who'd had his soul vacuumed out. "All right, let's get started. You want full asset protection. Everything I'm legally allowed to keep. And more if you can find a way." He smiled, not kindly, hungrily. "Now you're speaking my language." By noon, we had already filed for divorce. By 1 p.m., I was at the bank, sitting across from a teller I'd known for years. "I'd like to withdraw everything from our joint account." She tapped the keys, looked at the screen, then back at me. "All of it. Leave $5, just so the account stays open. Next stop, HR. I removed Anika as my life insurance beneficiary. For a 1K beneficiary? Gone. Medical emergency contact? Gone. Power of attorney? Never again. By sunset, I was no longer Cassius, the husband. I was Cassius, the storm she didn't see coming. The next day it happened. Anika was served. Right in the middle of a company lunch, according to Angelina, who heard it from someone on the inside. She was smiling when the server walked up to her table and handed her the envelope. That smile didn't last long. She flipped through the papers, and little by little her face fell. Her hand started shaking. No alimony. No claim to the house. Furniture? Registered under my mother's name from years ago. A technicality she never thought twice about. Bank account? Emptied. Insurance policies? Erased. Retirement access? Gone. All she had was her purse, a half-finished iced latte, and the realization that she didn't just leave me. She walked away from everything. I didn't hear from her that day. Not a call. Not a message. But I knew what she was doing. She was scrambling. She was calling lawyers, reading forums, texting Wesley like he had the answers. Like this was still some cheesy reunion fantasy. I didn't feel bad. Not anymore. You don't light someone's world on fire and then cry about the heat. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Blocked number. I answered. Cassius, how could you? Her voice wasn't angry. It was shaken. I kept mine flat. You mean file for divorce? After you tried to rob me blind in broad daylight. She didn't answer. You always said we'd keep things civil if it ever came to this, she finally muttered. I laughed. You broke that deal the moment you brought Wesley into my house and tried to get it behind my back. Civil? You lost that luxury. She went quiet again. Then came the line I'd been waiting for. This isn't fair, Cassius. I let that hang in the air for a second before responding. No, Anika. What wasn't fair was watching the woman I loved turn me into a footnote in her real love story. What wasn't fair was raising a daughter who thinks I'm just some temp dad. What you're feeling right now. This is justice. Click. I hung up. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel broken. I felt free. The day of the hearing, the courtroom felt colder than usual. Maybe it was the air conditioning. Maybe it was the fact that I was about to face the two people who had once been my entire world. Weeks passed. Slowly, things got better. Kate moved back in with my mom. She started cooking with her, helping around the house. Sometimes she'd bring me coffee at work, or sit beside me quietly while I watched the game. No words, just presence. We were healing, not because we forgot the pain, but because we faced it. And then, one Saturday evening, I met someone. Her name was Isla. She worked at a local art gallery and laughed with her whole body. Kate saw us talking in the cafe one day. She didn't roll her eyes or walk away. She smiled. A real smile. You should ask her out, Dad. She seems nice. And just like that, the circle began again, not because I was starting over, but because I had finally let go of what was holding me back. Sometimes betrayal clears the path for freedom, and sometimes the person they leave you for, well, they show them who you really were the whole damn time. A man worth staying for. Black heart, if you felt that. If you've ever been betrayed by the ones who were supposed to protect your heart. Backhand index pointing right, like this video. Speech balloon, drop your story in the comments. Loudspeaker, and don't forget to subscribe, because around here, we turn heartbreak into power. And I'm Cassius Lou, no longer the placeholder, but the one they'll never forget.